What's up? So guys, today I'm coming at you with something a little bit different, and I wanted to actually look at gameplay. What I wanted to look at today are the 8 levels of ramp rushing in Fortnite, from the very beginner moves all the way up to the highly expert. The reason I've never done a tips or tricks video in Fortnite before is just because I feel like I'm really not a professional player. I'm really not that good. But this was something that I thought was interesting and I thought you guys might enjoy. You can try some of these more advanced ramp rushes and see where you fit as a player. Anyways, if you guys are new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe, leave a like if you're already subscribed, and we're just gonna hop straight into this. Alright, so we're gonna start things off with level 1 at the single ramp rush. Alright, so the first ramp that we have is what everyone should know. This is your baseline. Obviously, everyone that plays Fortnite knows this. It's just your single ramp. You're not really gonna use this in a fight, because obviously, you know, someone can shoot that out really easily and you're gonna die. But this is, I don't know, this is good for, like, you know, just maneuvering the map, getting up mountains and things like that. And this is, again, this is your baseline level 1, you know, noob should know ramp. Moving on to level 2, we have the double ramp rush. Alright, so the next ramp that we have is known as the double ramp. This is going to be pretty familiar to most of you guys, unless you've just started playing Fortnite. And it's, you know, it's this, right? It's just your 2 ramps across. Gives you a little bit extra protection. You know, maybe you're not sure if you're going to be getting in a fight. You want to just have that extra second of you know, just defense for this getting knocked out. You know, one can get knocked out, you're all right. But you know, it's still not obviously the greatest defense. It's literally, that's all it takes, and you're dead. This takes a little bit more skill than your normal one up, but is obviously pretty easy to learn and easy to master. At number 3, we have the single wall ramp rush. Alright, so now we're going to start looking at some of the more advanced techniques. So this is something that, you know, once you've kind of mastered the basics of Fortnite, you can start to learn. But again, it's definitely not anything, you know, out of the ordinary. So first off, what we'll show is just what is known as the single wall ramp. So again, it's just a normal single ramp as we saw, but you're placing one in front. So it looks something like this, right? So it's easy, get a little bit faster. And, you know, this is good for pushing in a scenario where you don't have a lot of materials. It's, again, not something that's super sturdy, but if there's someone shooting at you, you know, like the front of it is protected. Really, the only time that I would use this is in a scenario like this. So in a scenario where you would want to maybe use this is kind of like using it strategically. So, you know, you're pushing up, you know, maybe there's a guy to your right. So it's kind of like that, you know, just one up and a little bit to the over. You know, you go up, and then, you know, something like that. Again, you're not really going to be just doing like the normal as we saw there, but it's something that's good to learn just kind of in situations like this where, you know, you're pushing kind of up from the side, you want to get a shot on somebody and something like that. Moving on to level 4, we have the double wall ramp rush. All right, so now it's time to start looking at kind of like the more intermediate of steps. The first one, and obviously the most basic, this is kind of your bread and butter, if you will, your meat and potatoes of ramp rushing, all that, is it's just your double wall ramp. So it's very simple. It's boom, boom, right? Boom, 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 boom. And once you get fast, so this is something that obviously uses a lot more materials. You're using 4 per level you're going up. But I would say it's kind of like the first in steps of kind of pushing towards those more advanced rushing techniques. Now, while most of you guys probably know this technique, there's a variation that you can do that I think is actually really helpful. I'm going to switch to brick for this, but basically, you do the normal ramp, but instead of placing walls, what you do is you go here, and then you edit, and then boom, and then boom, and then boom, oh, my bad, and then boom, and then boom. And what I like about this is if, again, you know, if you're pushing up to a mountain like this, and there's a guy shooting down at you, you have cover, and then, you know, you just pull up the quick edit and back up, you know, and it's kind of a slow push, but it is really effective and, I guess, a really safe push.
At level 5, we have the single wall, ceiling, floor ramp.
You can kind of see the trend here. So first we had just a single ramp, then we had a single ramp with a wall, and now it's time to look at single ramp with a wall and ceiling. So boom, boom. That's what we're looking at here. So boom. You know, you can kind of do it either way, whatever way you're comfortable. I usually do boom, 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 and once you kind of get going a little faster, it'll look like. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm really not a fan of this strategy, and especially not, building something this long. Like, in any scenario, I think really, if I was going to realistically use this, what I might do is, like, maybe, like 2 up. It's not something that I would really use all that seriously, just because I think once you're kind of getting into using, a lot of mats, you may as well just go for the double wide, because that gives you a lot more protection than just the single with a ceiling and a wall.
At level 6, we have the double wall, ceiling, floor ramp.
All right, so this is where things are definitely starting to get a little bit more complicated, but also it's going to start using a lot more materials because we're basically just doing what we just did, but double wide, so that's double the materials. So this is going to look something like this. You're going to go ramp, wall, ramp, ceiling, or ramp, floor, wall, right? So ramp, floor, wall. Ramp, floor, wall. And honestly, I find this to almost be somehow easier than that. I don't know. It feels better to me. A little bit faster looks like this. Now, if I was in a situation where I had like just a ton of mats, maybe it's like a 1v1 at the end of the game, and you can really afford to use it. This is something that I would definitely consider. Again, definitely not the 1x1 version of this, but the 2x2 is really quite a bit more formidable because you need, there's three parts that you have to shoot out if you actually want to, make the building break, right? So boom, boom, but you've obviously still got the whole other side. So that adds a lot more protection.
All right, we're up to level 7 now. Things are getting a little bit more intense. This is what I call the single double layer ramp.
All right, so now we're going to be getting into the real advanced stuff. I would call this the double layer, and the reason that it's the double layer is you see how this is like there's one ramp going up. Well, what we're going to be adding is basically another to it just right in there, and that's what kind of it's going to use a ton of materials, but it certainly adds a huge extra layer of protection. So what this looks like is we're going to get that nice and lined up. So you've got let's just start from here. You've got one. Sorry, I'm going to do that a little bit differently just so I can show it easier. So you've got this and this, right? That's normal, similar to that. You go up one, but instead of, continuing on like you would, what you're going to do is you add another ramp there, and then boom, 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 and then boom, 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 and then continue on like so. So it's ramp, ramp, wall, or sorry, floor, wall, ramp, ramp. Oh, sorry. That's the huge issue you can make is, coming up and hitting that. But anyways, so fast, what that's going to look like, and I'm not even that good at this because it is a really, more advanced strategy. It's going to look like this, though. See, and look at that. It's so easy to mess up. It takes a lot, but... As you can see, this obviously is a lot slower if you're no. Oh, and I'm dead. Like I said, I'm a noob. But anyways, at the end of the day, again, it's a much slower strategy unless you're, like a real expert at building. But obviously, the extra level of protection is super nice to add into this.
And finally, ladies and gentlemen, at level 8, we have the double layer double ramp, which I just like to call, and Canadians might appreciate, the double-double.
All right, so this, in my opinion, is about as far really as you could ever realistically take building. There are, more extreme ways you can do things, but I feel like after this, it gets a little ridiculous, and to the point where it's just not worth it. But this is, again, basically same idea, but it's doing this just double. So let's start that off right here. Nice. And basically, again, it's boom, 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 ramp, ramp. So floor, floor, wall, wall. Ceiling, ramp, 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 ramp. Now, you're probably noticing, for how high we're climbing, like, rip my mats, right? And that's the big issue with this thing is like... We're almost out of mats, and, we've climbed, like, how high? Like, maybe 10 stories, 10 ramps high. It uses a lot of materials. Like, it's good, don't get me wrong. But it just eats materials. Like, we're out, basically. Now, the double layer, double ramp method is something that I certainly wouldn't use to that height, again, unless I had like a million materials. But I don't know, maybe say in a situation where, like you just want to go like 3 up, maybe get some good base, and just, get that extra level of protection, especially with something like metal, right? Like, maybe just, oh, we're back to wood. But anyways, maybe just to like here, get a really good foundation, because you're end of the game. I can see that happening, but you're probably not going to be doing something that high because, if you are, you're going to be running out of mats really, really soon.
All right, so there you guys have it. Those are the 8 levels. Now, there are certainly more advanced techniques, but in my opinion, after that level 8, it really just gets to a foolish number of materials. You're already using 8 per level, and I think to go anything beyond that is a little bit insane, but those are like the 8 that you can realistically use in an actual game. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the video. I know it was something a little bit different, but I thought we'd spice it up today. If you did enjoy, leave a like, let me know what you thought. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. Other than that, I'll see you later.